Well, hello everyone. This is Alex from Crytivo, and we have Shrimp, our community manager, which is James. So everybody's
Yep.
calling you Shrimp. And we have Sasha,
Hello,
our
guys.
executive producer, game designer, and how many hats? We all have tons of hats here at Crytivo. Hopefully, you guys can hear us well, not too loud, not too. I might be a little bit loud, yeah. So I'll reduce the sound a little bit. So let us know if you guys have problems with hearing something. So this should work. So yeah, basically, thanks guys for joining us today. It's been a while since we streamed, mainly because we really hard at work. And we've been in the process of like relocating from California to Texas. It's a little bit rainy today. Hopefully, it's fine at your side. So yeah. So what we're gonna do today? We're gonna pretty much talk about what's been going on in the team. It's like what we've been working on, what you guys can expect, and we're gonna touch a little bit on our history of Universim. It's been a while, so it's like we're like what like I think like we're a decade in development now. So it's 10 years. So I'm older Pierre. So everything changed. So we're learned so much, and hopefully, yeah, I can show you guys some few screens of what it's been, where the game started, what sparked the idea. So like overall, all our challenges and stuff that we learned. So it was a lot of fun. So and you guys been around. Some of you, not sure if anyone in chat has been with us from the day one from the Kickstarter. So like say hi in the chat, like raise your hand. Would love to know. Otherwise, yeah, it was like a journey. So I think Sasha's been with us for a very long time now, right? Sasha's like you've been like more than
Oh,
five
yeah.
5 years.
7 years?
Yeah. We have quite a few people been with us for a while. Vlada, she's our 3D lead on the project. I believe she's been with us like for like 8 years, probably, or 7 years. James, how long you been with us? I think like not that long, right?
Not that long on the team, but I've been playing the game for quite a while. I didn't keep track.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me fire up the game, guys, so that we can see. Basically, it is. So the plan for today is we're gonna start with our current build that you guys have on Steam. That some of you seen it already, and then I will show you the previous builds that we have in the past. And then at the end, we probably gonna showcase some of the space age planets. Not the gameplay. I recorded some videos, so the build that we have, even though James saying that it's relatively right, James is relatively stable. The latest, the version 1, everybody's waiting for that. But I decided not to risk it and just like play what we have and show you guys what we have for now, and then we're gonna get back. Like a little bit later, maybe we're gonna do the version 1.0 demonstration. So in the next stream. So right now, basically our development is like a lot of it is complete. So it's like the biggest thing with this is that with this kind of development is like imagine making a digital product program for 10 years. So when we finally decided to chase the version 1.0, we started like looking at the things that we need to tighten up and things like that. So that's why you guys seen the big gap at the end was the content update, because like we can only choose two passes. Like either we're developing new content and we're continuously releasing updates the way we've been doing that, or we like put the cap on it and start polishing the game and polish the features that we had. And that's exactly what we did. So except like there was no option to keep everyone happy, so we've seen a lot of people's like did they forgot about the game, did they forgot about us? It's like of course not. Like the Universim is our main project, it's our baby. This is like the ground zero of everything that we're doing at Crytivo, and it's a passion project. So we're not developing it for 10 years because there's some kind of financial benefit in that. It's like of course it makes money, but like knowing what we know today as a marketing team, as a developer team, is like you kind of don't want to make your games for 10 years. You want to launch them within a year and a half, cash out, move forward, make another game, right? Like, so with Universim, we just like, our goal was to make it all right, to deliver promises as much as we can. I believe, like, I'm not sure, of course you all have different opinions, but like, we think that we strongly over delivered of what we promised, and I think like what we're going to show today will demonstrate that as well. So there's like, again, there's like, we don't have like a strong structure of what we're going to show today. It's just like fun, relaxing conversations with you guys, so you can ask questions, we'll try to answer them, and stuff like that. Not sure if James or Sasha want to add anything to open monologue.
No, I think you pretty much covered everything correctly. So there is a lot of small things here and there that we fixing up. Some things taking longer than expected. Like, for example, right now I see a lot of people asking about narrator, and yes, he's okay. So thanks God, because as Alex mentioned
Thanks
previously on
God.
Discord, there was like some issues with the person who was doing voiceovers for the game. He was in a hospital for some time, and we basically had to make a decision. Either we waiting for him and basically trying to still continue with his voice, or we have to redo everything.
We did
And
consider the AI voice,
yeah,
but like
that
it,
was
again, it's like something that very questionable thing to do. But like, as Sasha, yeah, pointed out, that the person that you hear right now, our main voiceover person, so we lost the contact with him mainly because he's in decent age, and it seems like he's been going through some health issues, and it stalled some of our progress, and kind of like broke some of our promises. So, but good news is he's in good health right now. He recovered. When we started recording back again, his voice got a little bit changed, and we had to work through that as well. So, but like, good news, like, there's a lot of new lines. Not sure if Sasha, you know exact numbers, like
yeah.
how many.
I think we added a little bit over 1,000 new lines, voiceover lines. Some of them just like quirky is the wear and just fun. Some of them supposed to help players, to guide them, or to remind them like, hey, maybe you need to research, or your civilization is completely stalled.
I
So
gotta
yeah,
say, it's a really big blessing that he's back. Those lines that are being added, they're fabulous. And like, even though his voice has changed just a tad bit, you realize that, and you're gonna realize that, but it's still really superb. You still hear the narrator, and they're just awesome lines.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like some people I see that asking if like while we were waiting on the voiceover, were we making any progress? And of course we were making any progress. We were adding new tutorials, improving localization. A bunch of localization was already sent out to localization teams who were performing localization. Again, improvements to UIs, basically many different things, obviously bug fixes. So all that was worked on, but some things we could not work on completely. Like, for example, with voiceovers, they had to be voiceovered first, then we had to create subtitles, and now those
And
subtitles have
cleaned
to be
and cut. Yeah.
translated, and now they have to be cleaned, and now they have to be all checked. And as you guys can imagine, 1,000 plus lines, checking manually, it's a little bit time consuming. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
all of those
not an
things
easy
is just
task.
all of those things is just like piling up, and yeah, so it's sounds easy, but then when you start doing it, you're just realizing, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and need to basically make sure that everything's working fine. So yeah, I think as Alex mentioned, we'll have like another stream down the line where we're gonna showcase more of like the space stuff and more of the changes that were made, and I think it will showcase like a
Yeah,
better
I think we're
picture
gonna
of
do
what we
that.
worked on while we were on. Oh,
Do
Alex,
you
we
want to
can.
finish, or?
No, go ahead, because you started, and
No, I just
I think you
wanted
have
to
a
add
small
that,
delay.
like, because like there's gonna be a new trailer that is, the trailer is complete. We just can't show it until we're finalized with that release date, which is again super close. As as we said, like, the thing is, there's a lot of this tidbits, right? Like that you guys don't even like consider. Is like there is a question that like, have you guys added some suggestions and things like that? We, of course, there's like tons of suggestions and improvements to the game balance and things like that. There's a lot of small little details that been implemented to the game. But there's still, as we said, it's like a simple thing as like just localization, right? Like add, not the localization, the voiceover. So voiceover needs localization. It needs a proper system of like developing. So it's just like so much is like just with one task that sounds like pretty much you accept it as granted when you play the game, right? But because all the lines are needs to be linked and triggered with certain events, there's so much work has to be done, and that also like stalled us a little bit. But again, there's like there's some changes that you guys definitely will see. There's some changes that will just improve your performance, for example, like some things that you'll see the control improved and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of quality of life improvements in the game by itself, yeah, hopefully you guys will notice a lot of it, along with the, again, new content. And we've been hearing community, we've been listening to the community a lot. There was suggestions of like improving some modern age building, and I believe that we're doing that, right, Sash? Is like Vlad is working on.
Yeah,
on
Vlad. I mean, that's like one of the examples that we were like, okay, we're done. We're not adding any new buildings. We're not adding new things. And then we saw that some people were mentioning that they want certain buildings in modern age to be a little bit better, not that bland. So then we tasked one of our 3D artists to like, okay, so now just do them, which means now she's spending time doing that stuff, and then one of the programmers will have to quickly implement it. The only thing that's good is that the system is all set up, so like implementing it will be like quite fast because it's not a new system. It's just like swapping models and like adjusting some things, like colliders and all this stuff. But yeah, it still like takes a little bit of time. So that's just like one of the examples that we did not plan, but hey.
Well, I mean, it's, to be honest, is like, yeah, it's like if you guys would know, I think like one of the questions that I seen on Discord as well that people asking is like, how big is the team right now? So the team is, so that you guys know, is, I think like we have the strongest developers working on it right now than ever before. Like right now we have Marius, Slava, and Marcus, and so basically four or five developers working on it full time, and even that is like even with that many developers is like sometimes they don't have like things to do, and we're like sending somebody to polish things because like it's kind of like, if any of you guys are familiar with game development, so usually when you develop the game on a daily basis, you kind of like create the branches for things that you work, right? Like, so we have a main branch, and that main branch is kind of like your version 1.0, and things that our developers are working on, they're working on the side, and then they merge it to the main branch. And yeah, like there's a lot of like small, tiny little bits and tasks like that our developers are working, but like main developers are working on a bigger one that are being merged like occasionally, and sometimes it just stalls other developers. So it's just like getting narrowed down towards the version 1.0, and like our team is like doing great job, but like we don't even need like more people. Is like we're not suffering for any of that, so it's all good. It's just like it seems like we have some imposters sometimes on the Discord chats or our social medias that like trying to like kind of make a big deal out of something like that, which is, I don't understand. It's like there was even like questions on our Reddit asking like what is the crazy reason why you guys are moved from California to Texas, and in the same question that person answers is like, even though it's like I understand the taxes are pretty high in California, but they trying to make a controversy out of like anything we do, which is like a little bit like, first it's a little bit upsetting, but because like we're doing it with passion and we're trying to keep you guys happy, but like sometimes it's just like, yeah, we have like few guys that have just been with us for some time and been bidding us here and there, but like again, it's like we're doing our best. The goal is like to give you guys the best game that we can create, and I think like it again, it's a lot of fun. So I enjoy this, like, and I'm proud of our achievement myself for sure. I think it's definitely, it was a crazy decision, is like for indie developer with zero experience to start developing a game like Universim, because technically it's crazy. It's like, it's not like your 2D platformer. It's like competing with some of like double A great projects, and yeah, it's just like been crazy what we've been going through. It was like very challenging. Right after Kickstarter, sometimes I've been waking up at night. I kind of think is like, oh whoa, we promised like such a crazy things. Like, how can we like achieve all of that? And at points it felt like it might be impossible. But I think like again we didn't give up, and we continued grind through this, and hopefully again you guys will appreciate what you're gonna get at the end. I think a lot of people enjoying it already. So yeah. So again, yes, thank you for sharing all this journeys with us. But yeah, so I'm not sure. It's like I'm not paying that much attention to what I'm doing. So it's, people will be like they're gonna die soon. It's like sure. Like I didn't even put it like next to the water.
You're just randomly clicking on this house multiple times in a row.
I'm just gonna activate my dev debugs, and it's like that's it. Look how far I build it from the water. But yeah, so there's quite a few of you guys like the questions I see. So yeah, start dropping your questions. We'll try to answer them if you guys have something like very specific. But maybe should I switch to the older version? Let's see what it was. So there was a question, is like, how did you guys came up with the idea of the Universim? And basically that was just back in 2013, at the end of in the middle of 2013. I saw the Kickstarter. There was like few campaigns doing well, and I always kind of wanted to create things. So like before this, I had like a YouTube channel where I've been uploading some pretty grandiose blockbuster videos, and I always kind of wanted to try to like make some kind of like entertainment like videos or movies for people to enjoy. And there wasn't opportunities. Like I was like pretty popular on YouTube. I have a channel with like over 200 or 100,000 subscribers. I didn't upload there for a while, but yeah, I had the community that been following me, and I kind of came up with the idea. At that point, the Plague Incorporated was a pretty popular game. You guys probably know. And I really love the idea that you can kind of like spread the virus across the globe. And I had this idea, is like, what if instead of like murdering and killing people, how about like we do the same thing but with life, right? Like so you kind of like plant the seed and it started growing around the planet. So at first it was not necessarily was supposed to be a god game. It was just to be a planet management game, and where you manage and maintain your civilization. And later, when the community start liking what we're doing, and everybody's, oh, it's like a black and white, and it's been kind of influenced a little bit to and became like pretty strong god game at the end, as you guys can see. So that's why it's like some of the god features we kind of had to implement after we already planned the game. So it's like we had to inject them in the game. There's like good that they fit like pretty nicely, but yeah. So I can show you guys like really what we actually showed on the Kickstarter. So let me close this. So I mean, we had a great achievement. It's achieved a lot right now in the game build, but like,
of 2 people. I think
right.
there was like one question while you're loading up about the actual release. I think one of the things that you guys will have an ending to the game, but after that ending you can still continue playing and basically expanding your civilization, but there is going to be some parts, some story to it. So whoever was asking, sorry, it was just so many comments, so I kind of lost track of who was asking it, but there is going to be
so there will
an
be
ending.
Yeah, there will be a like sense of completion of the game. So there's something like there's a story that we're not really been talking about. So the game does has a story, and you guys will have to learn about it. So we're not spoiling it. I mean, it's like nice little cherry on the top, right? Like, so it's nothing like really crazy. But at the end of the game, or towards the end of the game, when you're going to start colonizing new planets, there will be some ending to it. Which is, again, you will be able to continuously play the game for as long as you want, as much as you want. It's just like we kind of going to have the completion of the story. So hope that makes sense. So yeah, let me move this. Oh, it's going to be loud. Maybe. I'm sorry if it is. Maybe for a second or two it might be.
I think for the lore, we were even hinting it a little bit like through narrator phrases or through things that were happening in the world, but not much. It was very
How can I resize this?
subtle, I would say. So yeah, if you hear something strange that narrator says, it might be not that strange.
Yeah, well, you'll have to
FYI.
put like some clues. There are going to be some clues, but like let me quickly add this display capture. No, not that. Application audio capture, game capture. Is that going to work? Yeah. It's just like it's so old that it is just not. It doesn't have like proper settings. So hopefully it's going to work. Can you guys see it? Should be able to see it. Oh, it's a little bit too big. So let me resize it real quick. To fit the screen. So yeah. So everything that you saw on the Kickstarter was done with this planet. So this was a prototype, and this is how the Universim originally looked, and this is how it looked in the trailer. So this is. So the funny thing about all of this is that with every iteration of Planet, we've been looking at things and we were like, how can we afford this many objects with real-time lighting, with shadows and things like that? And even at this stage is like, what you guys see was at that point kind of a limit. We were always kind of like, well, this is not enough trees. Like if you look at the trees, the camera is super clunky. It's like I will share this prototype build with you guys on Discord, like so you can. I can't even like control it really well, but this was the prototype. The goal was the goal was to kind of like keep turning on. The goal was to create this like look and feel for what we want, and this what was it. If you will kind of analyze our trailer and compare it, like this is exactly what you've seen. We just like put some camera movements, recorded it all, and like if anything, this kind of should show you the amount of work that was done. Is like you'll see, like you can see the difference between where we were, what was promised, and how much we delivered. It's like Nuggets already was like running around here with like very dumb AI. So there was some kind of like things that you can discover and learn a little bit about lore. It's not really related to the game, but it was like we decided to release this prototype at one point. Look at the level of details on this thing. It's pretty low. So yeah, this was our very first prototype, as you can see. There should be some crashed UFO that you guys seen on the trailer as well. Yeah. So look at the stones. It's like 5 triangles. Still been suffering with a little bit of performance. Well, this happens like what 10 years ago. Keep in mind, it was like not sure what NVIDIA video card we had. Like probably 10. No, maybe not even 1080. I think maybe 1080. Maybe probably not. So I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see the sound is like just keep kicking in. Like yeah. Here's your modern medieval, or not modern, the medieval era, with the farm and little rabbits running around. So it's very rudimentary stuff. Okay, so this was that. Let me launch the different build that was a little bit later, so that you guys can see how it progressed. Yeah, Sash.
While you're launching it, yeah, I'm just gonna cover one more question because there were people asking about aliens and Planet Cracker. So I'll just share a little bit more information because as we're waiting on like some of the things for subtitles and all the stuff that is being added, we decided to expand a little bit the Planet Cracker, and you will be able to control it to the extent to crack the planets. It won't be like something extremely crazy, but it's going to be something, at least we think that it's going to be very useful. As for the aliens themselves, like aliens invasion, you will encounter that stuff, but it's not something that is going to be playable all the time, because we never really planned for the like full-scale wars all the time. And even like with addition of tanks and helicopters and all that stuff, that's something that was suggested by the community, that a lot of people wanted to see and try it out and have a combat. But we also saw from the opposite side that a lot of people didn't want to have that stuff. So for the alien combat, you will have, like I said, invasion, and you will have an encounter, but it's not going to be something that is going to be repeatable all the time. It's going to be a part of the story. So yeah, that's just to cover.
Well, to add to that, really is like we had some plans to add little more stuff, and then the community started, like, again, the stuff that we never promised, right? Like, so there's Universim is full of things that like was never promised. We always work with community, and we always love seeing you guys enjoying it. But again, because we've been started seeing a lot of pressure on releasing the game for the full release, so we decided just to finalize everything that was promised and everything that we had, and release that, because there was some questions like, what's the future of the Universim? Are you guys planning to continue adding stuff and things like that? So we planning to continuously add things to the game. It really depends on popularity of the game as well. It's like if you guys will continue playing it, submitting feedback, talking to us, and enjoying what we're doing, of course we will continue adding more and more stuff. So if, like as Sasha said, there's like, we never planned to. The combat was out of the like target at all. It's like we never planned to add any kind of combat. We even talked about it in the past. Like we were saying that, like, no, the Universim is not going to have a combat, and then you guys been pressing and pressing, and we're like, sure, let's add the combats. Like again, it's like it's not that like it's super against of our like vision. It's fine. It just, like, again, scales of the scope of the game, and now we have to introduce that. We have to develop it because it introduces so many new different systems that work behind the scene, like, and introduce bugs with that. So all what you need to keep in mind, that like everything that we introduce to the game introduces the new bugs, right? Like it's just like natural, like that's how it works.
It's
Everybody
also one of
has
the
their own way to play. So some people like more relaxed, not very much combat.
And that's true. Everything that we add, somebody's always is like, I want more of that, and the other person is like, I don't want that. And in the past, we even had like some pretty like, and I believe that people that like sometimes like follow us with some negative comments are those people that like we kind of like couldn't accept their suggestions, because they think that what they suggest, the way they play the game, should be influenced and developed for everyone. So they have their personal opinion, because you can play Universim like in the different ways. It's like, if you guys played it, right, like, so there's the different strategies you can choose and stuff like that. But sometimes like we have like very passionate fans, like sometimes they even ending up to be our like QA members, right? So we seen those, is like, and they're just like, hey, I think everybody wants that, it's like, and we're like, well, let us study, let us investigate. And we see, it's like, no, some people play it differently. It's like, you playing the biggest problem when we collect feedback from people like that is that there's kind of like a pro players, right? Like, exactly where to place your well, exactly how far you want to place your epicenter, how many like water wells you need in total, and things like that. So they know all of that, and they feel like the new players are as advanced in their knowledge of the game as they are, and they introduce and suggest us implementing some features that will make game even harder. It's like, and that usually is very slippery slope, and we're trying to be like very conservative and make sure that there's like an entry barrier that is like nice and smooth, so that the new people can join. So this is actually the build that I'm playing. Like, what was that? The version 0.2 demo? No, that's a 0.2 of the demo. Yeah.
Was it?
I think it's a 0.2 of demo, not the version of the game. But you
think the
guys can see
add-on-
that research was different back here. It's like, so I think that Sasha, we developed it together, right? It's like,
Yes, the research was actually you had two passes, so basically like a passive research that just improves any of your buildings or any of your nuggets, and then like main research, which is like
the passive is
unlocks
not
new
even
building.
here, I think, Sasha. It's
Well,
like
the
I think,
passive is yellow, so it's like yellow
but
is
you
the ones
can't
that just
select it. You
kind of
can only
influence.
research one for now. It's like
Oh,
in
you
this
can
build.
research. We changed it. We changed it.
In
Yeah.
the future, we added the ability. So that's another interesting thing is like, because we kind of like been developing this game with you guys, and like with there were some iterations. Like this research panel is, I believe, our second or third iteration of the research tree already, and then we had to
Yep.
go through it again and again and again. So, and that's why it's like when somebody's like asking like, why you make this game for so long, it's like, well, because we want to do it right. Like a lot of this things we try to reinvent and like come up, because like I'm not sure, it's like when we started there were not that many games similar to Universim at all. It's like, I believe there was, like, everybody been comparing it to Spore, but the Spore is
Black and white.
like very different. Black and White was like pretty straightforward as well. I think it's like, it's not like super identical, you know. It's like, so a lot of it is like we couldn't like influenced by like good games and just like go and like steal some features and say it's like, hey, it's going to work in our game, you know. It's like the fact that this planet is spherical, right? Like the like we had problems with just the water. It's like back then Unity didn't even have the implemented UI system, so we had to implement our own UI systems that was supporting it. Like now Unity has like pretty nice tools for that, but like back then we didn't have it. The water, when we started implementing, like we wanted like nice shader, and it's like there was a problem with it that there in our game there's no y axis, right? Like, so there's no up in our game. So when you work with a shader, like you usually want to tell shader that this is up, this is down, this is how water is going to look down and up and things like that. So a lot of this is not a big problem like nowadays, but back then we had like a lot of troubles like implementing camera, that it always, like, you guys don't think about it when you play, but like when you fly, your camera always stays like straight, and like there's no way for you to like tilt it like upside down or something like that. So it's all was taking so much time. Like we had to like really invent all of this, you know. It's like, so there were no tools like the way we have them now. And if we ever like make the Universim 2, I guarantee you. So we're not planning to make the Universim 2. I'm like, because I've been talking about it like in the past. It's just like as a joke, like we're usually saying it. But if we ever decide to make the Universim 2, it's going to be a completely different game, because like we're so much more efficient right now. We have so much knowledge. I always call it like we have tons of blisters on our ass. So we burn ourselves with a lot of things so many times, and that we know how to avoid a lot of it and how to improve it. Just the facts that like every nugget, every single person in the game have this many stats that ticking all the time. And that's why it's like sometimes you guys are asking is like, give us more nuggets, but because they are so detailed, they have so many stats, is like, technically we can give you as many as you want. The problem is like your system will not be able to handle it. There's a lot of ticks, a lot of calculations, path findings, you know. So they're not just like dumb AI like you have in city builders that like just there for cosmetics. Here, as you know, they have like their life, they have their needs, they mate, they find the nearest well, they find nearest resource, they find nearest person to mate with, and all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's a little bit challenging to allow you guys to have like hundreds of thousands of them, even though that's something that we would love to see ourselves. But like, just because of the fundamentally how we structured it, it's not that really easy or possible to make it have like millions and millions of them. I think like we were balancing it in the way that like it's challenging for you to get to the maximum level of nuggets, but it's still possible. Like you still can like cheat. There's some tools
Well,
that you can use and continue.
yeah,
Like,
to clarify, there is no real kind of like setting or parameter that we have that says like
that
max
stops
number
you
of
from.
nuggets is 1000. So it's basically done through a very kind of complex formula that calculates in a way like how many nuggets. So for example, your 2 nuggets can have that many children, and with each additional children, the chance of them mating once again gets a little bit lower. Where like new pairs, which is young, they have like more capability of mating more. So naturally, you're getting to that threshold where it's like the amount of nuggets that are dying being substituted by the amount of nuggets that are being born, and it becomes that equilibrium where it doesn't go up or down. But technically, with using tools, let's say like Clone Center or actual forcing nuggets through mating, like Cupidon God Power, you can like exceed the threshold, and it's gonna be higher than, let's say, like your average one. So it's just a matter of like utilizing the tools, and you can get higher. But naturally, we try to balance it in a way that it's not gonna be extremely bad on your performance. Though each iteration with our game, we're trying to improve the performance over and over and over again, and especially with like all the new tools that are coming out and all that stuff, we're trying to utilize them as much as possible, if it is possible, by our system to improve the performance.
Yeah, and I've also tested that. Like you can definitely get over that threshold, but it does play an impact on performance in the game if you go over that threshold.
Mm-hmm.
For people with lower end specs, more.
Yeah, because when that will happen, some people will still come to us and complain that the game has horrible performance, right? Like, so it's kind of like our goal is to find a middle ground, and like we still, it was like pretty challenging task. Like it sounds like simple as like, well, let them reproduce, but if they reproduce, as we can see now, they're just gonna like there's like geometrical progression. So 2 nuggets gonna have 4 nuggets, 4 nuggets gonna have 8 nuggets, and they reproduce. Sometimes they have 2 kids, sometimes they have 3, 1, and so on. So there's some formulas that we had to come up with to kind of like balance all of that. And at times is like when we are looking and considering like coming back to that, that's like very slippery slope, because it's like by like little changes it can introduce some craziness to the game. And the balance is like overall the balance, like we make so many stupid decisions here, is like just the fact that like everything is it's in a way it's stupid decision for game as for the game designer, not for you guys. It's like I still think that like super cool that everything is breathing, everything is moving, everything has its own statistics, but it made it so hard for us to balance because everything has like different distances, different needs. There's like a lot of different needs. Is like, and when as a game designer you balance something like this, you kind of want to know how much time it takes for one person to reach another building, right? Like, so the distance, because like when we're balancing like electricity or water needs, it's like you kind of want to understand how fast your AI delivering resources. And because we have so many different parameters, they always intervene and derail nuggets. And that is really, really hard to balance. It's like, it's really hard. So because that's why it's like you see some games with conveyor belts, you see some games with like AI that's like not as detailed. It's like it's so much easier. It's like conveyor belts. It's like sure. It's like if we put conveyor belts, like that's pure math, right? Like so we know exactly how much resources you make and stuff like that. But here, it's so much harder. And
well, that was one of the decisions why we took with factories, for example. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but previously every single building was relying basically on dynamics of the game. Like when the nugget is going to bring resources, that's when another resource is going to be produced. But then we realized that it's just like not possible to balance it in any way, because nugget might want to go and mate, nugget might want to go and eat, drink, and do a bunch of other things, and it means that your building will never receive those resources for it. So that's why we're like, okay, so our factories actually have to be computable. We have to calculate how much resources we can generate and how much the output is going to be. So that's why we decided to tweak factories, and like new factories were introduced where you basically have to have a nugget for it to work, but then it's going to produce X amount of resources based on like how many nuggets assigned to the building. So we can actually do some proper work on it.
Yeah, and it's like what we also have to consider is the player's mistakes, right? Like, so it's like
yes,
nothing stops you in this game to place your, like as I did in previous play, placing your water pump so far, so that your nuggets will have to go and build it and spend so much time. And it's like we continuously getting feedback from our players that complaining about certain things is like it's super hard. For some people, it's super hard. For others, it's super easy. So and it's like usually the guys who saying that it's super easy, those are the guys that have been with us for a while. They know exactly how the game works, and it's like sometimes we just have to like come up with some creative solutions. And Sasha had a good one with a well where we like had to tell the players that like you're not efficient with well. So if you like kind of in other games, because they're mathematical, right? They're not like really organic or natural the way we designed the Universim is. So you can place those wells in the line, and mathematically your city is just getting plus 20 of water every time you place them. But in our game, because there's a distance that Nuggets has to travel, so now we have kind of like to influence players not to build wells all in the same spot, right? Like, so because you kind of want them to be spread around the town, so that the Nugget, if he's working on the side of the city building the gas plant and he got thirsty, now he needs to walk 200 miles to just have a drink, and they usually been dying, right? And then Sasha came up with a good idea. It's like he was like, hey, how about we just tell them that efficiency so when you place your well, it shows that the efficiency is low, right? Like, so, and you have to kind of, and what we did is like when you place your first well and you start placing your second well, you technically nothing is really changing. You can place it next to another well, but like we have a UI element that tells you that your efficiency is poor, right? Like, and naturally on psychological level, you start moving it away from that area because you're kind of thinking that this well is using water. But in reality, nothing happens. We're just trying to influence you to place that well further from this well so that you don't place them all in one place, because your nuggets are going to suffer. They're not going to get enough water there. So sometimes we have to solve puzzles like that. Well, not sometimes, a lot of times. So,
let me tell you, that
right.
feature is a really, really cool feature that's added now, is just to help water pumps being separated and stuff like that. That's really nice to have.
Right. So, yeah, and there was a question from YouTuber Naga Hyde Benji asking, is like, would you say most of the dev time is spent balancing? No, not really. I would say it's like it's kind of like divided by like I would say it's like 30%, 20%. It's like it depends. It's like of course we have to develop things. So the people who balancing things are usually different from the people who implementing stuff. So we first come up with a game design, then that game design sent to our developer studies it, asking us questions, challenging us, because like even when we come up with game designs, there are usually things, edge cases that we don't think through really well, and usually team gonna start challenging you. It's like, what if player does this? What if player does this? And then we solve those problems, and then it goes to the developer. Developer implements it with some random values usually. So like usually things are either ugly or too fast, too slow. Then the game designer needs to take it back, balance it, compare it. Then it goes to James, for example. It's still not in good state. They probably will complain about it too. The QA tested and send it back to us. So that's kind of like how it works. But usually, like,
well, I think it's also kind of good to mention that, like, when you
the
saying
engineers.
developers, I think it's like either engineers or programmers, because yeah, basically there is like different departments. Even though like our team is like not huge, but we're still trying to separate tasks. And like any new feature always needs UI elements. It needs text. It needs game design document. It needs programming. And it needs sometimes it does not 3D art. So, and that's basically our pipeline, is where the game designer who's designing the feature produces the document and basically some kind of documentation for programmers to work on or rely on. And as Alex mentioned, they studying it and they checking, hey, so we might have issues here, this might not work, this will work, but it's going to take us months of work to do, and cetera, and cetera. And that's where like the decision then is being, hey, do we need to adjust it? Do we need to change it completely? And after all the adjustments, it goes to them. While they're working, UI might be worked on and 3D art might be worked on, and then it being given to programmers who is implementing all that stuff. After all of it is done, the game designer goes in and checks if everything is working correctly to what he envisioned. And if it does, then it goes to QA. If it's not, then everything is being reiterated, reworked, and then goes back to QA. Once QA checks, again, it might go back for being rechecked, reworked, and then finally it ends up in a patch or as a new feature. Sometimes there is like obviously some balancing issue where, because again, there is a limited amount of people who is testing, and when we're releasing each patch, there's like thousands of people who are playing. So there is way bigger feedback pool, and that's where like a lot of the adjustments are coming in. And I know there was one question about the crime and happiness system. So we did some balancing tweaks for the crime system. The actual system did not change that much. We were considering changing it at some point, but we realized that it's like if we'll just start doing it, we'll have to redo like a lot. And we want to see if like our balancing
Welcome
changes
to the
is gonna
Universim,
actually
a brand new
affect it
planet
and
management
be
god game built
Gosh,
from
it
the
might be a
ground
bit
up by
too loud right now
creators for new
because I
players
launched
and
the
genre veterans
Mother
alike.
Planet demo that we
Before
had,
we
Oh, okay.
unleash you upon
and
the
there's no
world
like
of
a sound
Universim,
control
we
here, I
want to
think.
give you
Got
a
it.
quick tour.
So this is the
of
version
demo
that like
to give
is
you an idea of how
before
the game
of what
plays.
I've been playing just now. Like this is like our like very early Mother Planet demo.
This is the Mother
This is the
Planet.
one where you control them with the sliders.
No, it's just a demo. Like she's talking about
It was
stuff.
designed by our team
It's like
to be
technical
similar
demo.
to the world you're
Maybe
currently
let's
living in.
listen to it. It's like let her talk.
I
Otherwise, it's
don't
gonna be
think
a
we can
mess.
hear it.
No, They
Unless
should-
actually, no, maybe I'm wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, they
No,
should
yeah.
be able to hear it. So basically, yeah, we made this to demonstrate our first ever planet. So we were so proud of it that we made technical demo for it.
This is where life begins for all of the creatures you will soon get to know, and this is where much of the alpha will take place. From
Could've-
herbivores to carnivores, everything has their purpose in this fragile ecosystem. Some you can hunt for food, others will hunt you.
This is right before, after that, the ugly planet or the Kickstarter planet.
Your
Like it still looks
civilization will
similar
need
as you
your
can
help
see.
to guide them on this vast evolutionary journey.
I think it's really cool to see how the whole game
With the
develops
help of
and
our
all the
in-game
graphics
engine, Prometheus,
changes.
dynamic weather and environmental
everything's, like,
conditions
kinda
will be
changed.
simulated
Kinda
on your
cool.
planets.
Still
Warm
looks beautiful,
summers
too.
and cold
Like, that's the thing,
winters
it's
will
like-
change the look
it's
of
just
your
different
planet
art
and
that
affect
looks
your
beautiful.
civilization's surroundings.
Yeah.
At times, it can become a struggle for survival as your
This
people
was a
evolve
limit
their
back then
lives.
for our performance
Only you
too.
can ensure their survival, and it may not
It's like
be as easy
this
as you
many
think.
trees. Then we like quadruple it. It was like
Every planet you encounter in the game
And they're a
will be
lot closer together.
procedurally generated, also thanks to Prometheus, which ensures that they are always unique and dynamic. Some will even contain stunning alien plants and wildlife. Every star in the sky is an unknown world brimming with mystery and adventure. These planets can either possess harmless or challenging environmental conditions for you to overcome. Any planet you encounter can become a new home for your species with the right tools and preparation.
yeah, all biomes were and are dynamic. It's like the camera reacts to it. Like
Every
we
tree
spawn
on your
particles.
planet plays a significant role
based
in
on
the
it.
environment. Flora can be seen as the veins of the planet as they control its temperature and oxygen levels, which your species directly depends on. Try to maintain the perfect balance
Gonna hit
between
it.
the expansion of your civilization and preservation of the natural world.
It's not scripted. It's the camera
In
movements is
subsequent
scripted, but
releases,
planet
we
is
will
procedural
introduce
still.
new features
So
one
it's
by
still
one.
procedurally generated.
We are starting with the Stone Age as the primary era in which you can play. But as time flows, new possibilities, eras, and abilities will be added by our team as we go.
Indigo,
By
hate
joining
her
us
voice.
from the very first build,
I think she sounds
you have
good.
the ability to provide feedback and help change the game for the better. Please keep in mind that the Universim will be constantly evolving and improving throughout development, and with each new update, it will become bigger and better. We hope you enjoyed this quick and simple technical preview, and that you will have endless hours of fun when the pre-alpha launches. Crytivo Games is working hard to deliver an innovative and entertaining
really hard.
experience to you in upcoming
They've been working
releases.
for they're gonna work for the next 7 years after this, I
Please
think.
visit our website to be among the first to test the early
not
builds
more.
and be involved in the ongoing development process.
So yeah, well, regarding there was a question that like why the seasons were dumped down. I think what was dumped down. I think seasons are stayed the same, right? Like we still have 4 seasons.
You can now
I'm not
try
sure
out the camera controls and
what
fly
you-
around
what,
the
what
I
exactly
think
you're talking about.
using
There
the
was
Clarified.
and the mouse.
yeah, there
You can
was.
also hold
Oh,
space
I will
to
let
activate
when she's gonna
pre-flight camera controls.
stop. Are you done?
Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
see you soon in the Universim's first playable alpha.
Thank you. I love her voice. I don't know what you're talking about. Her voice is really good. We will uncover her voice if we ever make any more updates in the future. But yeah, regarding seasons, seasons are the same. We have 4 seasons. There was originally there was a plan on, and we still had it. Like I think it's still even maybe working. We wanted to have different temperatures and very diversely, right? Like so it was like entire planet had like seeds of different planets, and we just couldn't really use it that well. It was like the problem was that it's just like so detailed. Sometimes when you make a game, like you can easily like overkill something with like details, and that was one of those features where we couldn't utilize it that well, like balance wise, like because like there was colder temperatures in the mountains, warmer temperatures in on deserts and things like that. And even though I know it sounds like super cool, it sounds super cool to us as well, but like we couldn't like handle it that well. So it all was implemented, yeah.
I mean, we still do have.
We
all
still
the
have
stuff,
it. It's just like
different
systems
regions.
not
Like for
utilizing
example,
it. Yeah.
your desert is not going to be as always in the snow.
It's just
as,
visually aesthetically utilized. It's like your planet changes based on season, but like in a
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
sorry. There is also one addition that we did change. It is related to actual, like how polluted your planet is and how many resources on your planet. So basically to indicate that, hey, something is changes within your planet, like climate change, right? So because I saw just a comment about seasons being 2, 2, and 2, basically divided equally between each other. But as you start progressing forward in modern age, as you start basically building more factories, polluting
I
the
believe
planet
it's gonna
more,
affect it. Yeah, it's like
it's gonna affect the length of your season.
you're gonna have a
Sometimes
climate
you
change, like in the
you
real
might
world.
get longer winter or longer summer. Your temperatures are gonna change, and with the change of temperatures, that's gonna affect as well, like your animals. It's gonna affect fires that's happening on your planet or other disasters.
Yeah, you can see snow accumulating in the colder
so that's
areas.
why, like, to accommodate those changes, we had to adjust the system to work from like the balance standpoint where everything is equal, and then as you basically move forward within the game, it changes dynamically.
Yeah,
So,
you can actually get into the
yeah.
ice age or make a planet lava if you mismanage things. So
Yeah, you
again,
can.
yeah, as Sasha said, that's one of the changes that they haven't tried. I think, yeah, it's like or
No, we set currently the parameters for the temperature are very high, just because we, like in a current build that we have right now on Steam, it does not have all the tools that we have internally.
There's a funny
And
Easter egg.
That's why
Look,
we had to kind of put a hard cap that it's extremely hard to achieve to make your
Double
planet
click
like
on
lava planet or kill everything on your planet with the season change, just because again we were not giving you all the tools to combat that, and we didn't want to make it feel unfair, where it's like, oh, I did something that like was supposed, the game allowed me to do it, and now I screwed up.
Yeah, if we had that in, it would be a nightmare for some.
yeah, at the beginning, I think it's like there was even like consideration and meetings about like what season you should start your game in. It was like, should it be spring? Should it be summer? It's like then we start, like, as you guys know, we've been hearing a lot of like hate towards our winters, that the winter is too long, winter is too wide, winter is too this. So it's all like crazy amount of stuff that we have to manage. Yeah, but the best thing is, yeah, farting mammoth is for sure from this demo. You can't do much, fly around, and you can make the mammoth fart. That's what it is.
What about the tree? Walking tree? No?
I don't think it's here. And nothing tells you to make a mammoth fart, so it was an Easter egg, so it was a secret too. So it's like a few years later. I don't know. We can do it all day long. But yeah, it still looks pretty cool, as you can see. And look at this. This is the densest forest that we could afford back then. So as you can see, is like it's not really a forest. Still not bad. It still was like we've been pushing limits. The biggest problem we had is that there's no LODs in our game. So there's nothing I don't know if you guys know what the LOD is. Like if you play GTA, usually very noticeable. Like you see the cars appear in front of you, or there's like more square object becomes more round the closer you get to it. So basically when developers design games, they make different variation of the same object, and that object has less and less polygons the further you go from it, and that's how they level of details. Thanks TT Studio. So yeah, and basically in Universim, because our objects are already pretty like crazy low, I believe our tree had like 160 polygons or something like that, and not the pine tree, the richest tree that we have. Like there was almost no sense on doing it. So instead, what we're doing is like we're combined meshing. So we do combined mesh. Basically, instead of the main bottleneck in the game is your CPU, right? Like how much calculations we can have, how much calculations your CPU can have, like counting all these objects, using pathfinding, getting to the trees. So in order to lower that, what we're doing, we're combining trees together into one object. So how it works, we first procedurally generating the planet, which has like different biomes, different information. Then we distribute objects based on those biomes, and then we combine them. So forest is being combined in a one object, so the system thinks that it's one object, but in reality we still kind of track every single tree, and when the nuggets go interact with a tree or you use your god power, we uncombine it. So we had to kind of like jump through hoops to give you guys a little bit of those FPS, right? It was like, so hopefully so 10 years later, not as big problem as we had it back then.
Well, there is also one thing that is kind of interesting with our game and with other games, because on other games you have you can see only a limited amount of objects on a screen, which means a limited amount of, let's say, like polygons on a screen at the same time.
Oh, this guy died.
And others are not being displayed. On our game, because you can zoom out and see entire planet,
still fart.
so you are able to see like every single tree, every single mountain, basically every single object, except like what's happening on the opposite side of the planet. And that's why we have to render like a lot of polygons on your screen. And you can do some of the tricks that like you can do when you see.
I feels bad about it. Yeah, well, I can show you guys. Like, I prepared a little bit of like content like that we can share. So hopefully, oh, it's so quiet now. It's like it's been so loud. So yeah, there's some images that like I can show you guys where we've been. And a little bit later, I will show you a little bit of like new planets as well, the space age. Yeah, so farting mammoth corpses is a feature for sure. So, and you guys seen the animals. So at first, the idea, first idea of the Universim was that like it was all supposed to be very minimalistic, like very like kind of like a Plague Incorporated, like triangled people, triangle animals, and stuff like that. So there was like some first concept designs that looked like this. I mean, kind of. So the target was like make me a concept of triangular dinosaur, and as you can see, we could have ended up being like living with this kind of animals, which is still kind of like okay. But then there was like a version of this where there were like a little more polygons, realistic textures. So that's actually a ground texture that we used back then, and it was not that fancy schmancy. So I believe the mammoths have like this gliding feet, and so okay. But then yeah, we had another iteration, which was a little bit more detailed, a little bit more stylized. So it started looking like okayish, nice, like interesting. And then this was our latest one, the one that you guys have in the game right now, which is, I believe, much better and much nicer. So yeah, this is the current wolf. Again, what you guys need to keep in mind is like we kind of like grew with this game. It was like we've been studying. This is our like game development college or whatever. It's like we have 10 years of experience of making games now. It's like but we started with zero. We came to on the market with this game where it's like I had no idea how you game design. It was like I was always working in entertainment. I was working with a lot of advertising companies, medias. Like we work with some big brands like Sony, GE, Siemens, some hotels in Las Vegas. I've been doing a lot of Photoshop. So I'm kind of like creative and art directing all of that. So I have a feel and taste for that. And so yeah, later it's like, again, been making mistakes and stuff, and we learn it with you guys as you guys been guiding us. So this is some of the earliest concepts for the Stone Age huts. So there was some more immersed idea of like immersing stone huts into the ground, a little bit more kind of like a hobbit houses. So as you can see, is like they were a little bit more green. Were supposed to be more green, but this is not like even first. I think if I look at it, was the first one. So this is again what we saw on the Kickstarter. As you can see, it's like look at the baskets of what, like 7 polygons or something. It was like, I don't know, it was like probably 12. But yeah, this was the level of details that we've been kind of aiming for. And then as we saw that like everybody's liking it, everybody's enjoying what we're doing, we're just like, yeah, let's do more, let's add more, let's create more, let's make better models, and let's redo it. The biggest enemy in the game development for any developers is excitement, right? Like, so that's why bigger companies are so much more efficient than indies. Like we have a luxury of redoing things. Is like we do things with community, we get too excited and we're just like, let's redo it, let's make it better. With bigger companies, you get structural game design at the beginning, everything is discussed. I mean, of course they still like make some changes and stuff like that, but with us, it was kind of like the potty with you guys, right? Like, so we just like, hey, like, let's add this. How about this? How about that? How about this? Let's add the building sites. I don't know if any of you guys remember. So like there was a point where we felt like we need some kind of indication of like there's no war. And we kind of wanted to stay away from additional UI elements like on your screen. But that didn't work that well. And we kind of gave up. We had to like, we introduced the icons, which work great. So sometimes, again, you want to reinvent something and that doesn't work that well. Is either because we don't have enough skills or the idea is shit. So
I think with flags it was like very nice and immersive, but the issue is that nobody was able to see them properly when they were flying above the planet. And
I mean, it's just like the biggest problem was exactly is like we were thinking another big challenge in the Universim that like a lot of other games doesn't have it is that it's very progressive, right? Like, so you start with one building, then it grows. And then there's another challenge on top of it is you have eras, right? Like, so everything that we're doing needs to be done 4 times if we have 4 eras, right? If we have 5 eras or 6 eras, we have to do it that many times. So every single building that we have to make 6 variations of that. You know, like, and that's why sometimes I see like some guys asking, is like, can we have this kind of era? Can we have this kind of era? It's like, sure. It's like 10 years later, we can. It's like now we can produce it like much faster, right? But in the past, it was like very challenging because the team it literally started with me, right? Like one person, then they start looking for developers and 3D people that can help us develop content. And when you have no experience, you just go to them and they're just like, yeah, I can do this. Is like sounds reasonable, sounds like something that we can do. Like it's super easy, like procedurally generated planets with 30,000 elements on it, like rendered all in real time with real-time lighting. Like, sure. And then it's like 6 months later, it's like we sitting with the hairs pulled out. It's like it's not working. It's like we can't achieve what we want to achieve. that person getting demotivated, for example, leaves the company, or we no longer work with them, new person comes to on board, and boarding process for the Universim is extremely hard. Is like because there's so many people been working on the game. Every new developer that comes to help us, he has to spend at least like 2 months on just understanding the systems, understanding all the mess that we developed. It's all over the places because we had like different people. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like you're trying to get on the racing track, and you start with a skateboard, right? And that was us. It's like we started with a skateboard where the wheels were like shaky and stuff like that. Right now we're driving like Lamborghini. I hope. hope we learn and know what we're doing. Like probably not that well, but like we still understand this so much better. It's like the process and stuff like that. So yeah, you can see some of the.
I mean, even despite that, we still do have some limitations of old systems, which do not allow us. Like one of the good example is like multiplayer. We would love to add multiplayer, and like we were discussing even
debating
of debating.
I have it
but
here.
It was just like based on discussion with all of our programmers, it would take us so long just because we have to rewrite the entire basically system from scratch. Because the current system just does not allow it because it was written.
Look at the first ever UI.
So
look at that UI panel.
Isn't that the same way with roads when we can't like change the road system too much because that's was something that was harder to change?
Well, it was, yes. It's like, it was like, again, because we went for like, we have a vision, right? Like we want to do something, and the vision was like we want an organic world where you interact with things kind of like minimum, and then we had very passionate fans that start saying, well, I want to do it, well, I want to build it, and we're like, sure. Like that's the road things, right? Like, so the idea was from the beginning is to implement roads that Nuggets build them, they appear themselves, and all that kind of stuff. And then as soon as you guys start getting it, we start seeing more and more that like, hey, I want to build a road. But the biggest challenge is that the infrastructure for all of this is crazy. Is like the pathfinding, the things like it just, again, I'm just getting tired just talking about this. It's like, it just like, again, there's so many puzzles to solve just to add. Like it sounds simple. It's like, well, Sims does it. Well, sure, but like it's kind of like introducing building construction in like kind of like Formula One racing game, you know. It's like, so we didn't plan. If we would plan it from the beginning, sure, that will be easy. But like when we're in the middle of it, then everybody's also is pressing us that we want like version 1.0 is not because, again, they're not enjoying it, just because they want to have a fact. I'm start like raging about it. But like, again, it's like, it's all like based on time and how much we want to wait, how much we want, like, we're not talking about investments. It's like, we're not worried about like spending money on this because like we enjoy it. It's like we mostly like what's pressing us is, again, is the pressure that like sometimes fans create, you know. It's like that, like, hey, like there was this fun building because we wanted, like, remember, Sasha, we were talking about like there was supposed to be we want you to generate some god points, and we're considering like how can we allow you to trade your nuggets kind of your premium currency, and how can we convert it to the god points. And we came up with the idea of sacrificing nuggets. So you sacrifice it. It's still implemented like with a grinder, but like with this system is like the nuggets were supposed to climb the tower and jump.
No.
Jump down.
It was so much like an Assassin's Creed reference.
Right. So yeah, there was that. But there was like problem was like the same thing here is like they having fun. The problem was like controlling. So because like we want to give you control, it's like how many nuggets you sacrifice, and we ended up giving you the nugget grinder, which is still pretty brutal, but like you still can control that, you know. So this is buildings, animals, and here's the nuggets. Like the first nuggets were very ugly. It's like the idea of like making the nuggets came from the toilet signs. So we really, I believe we were like at Chick-fil-A or something, and we were talking about like, hey, I mean, we're very limited on our resources in a way, like performance-wise and things like that. How can we make like creatures that are pretty simple and at the same time is like recognizable, because like it's very like you need to understand this is male, this is female. And then we were like sitting and I was like looking at the door of the toilet and I was like, bingo, is like yeah, it's here you go, the nuggets are toilet signs. And we kind of expanded. I don't know if any of you guys came across of this little Easter egg. This guy's appearing in the game. So yeah, and they ended up being like pretty nice. Like give us a little bit of like troubles on like kind of like you can't create any kind of merchandise with this. Is like we've been going on some like trade shows and stuff like that. Would have been nice to have a nugget, but everything is floats. It's like, and there was some like when we start moving to the modern age, we were thinking about how can we introduce cars. And we wanted like every nugget to introduce to have a car or something, and we were considering doing some morphing, and then at some point we kind of technically was not looking nice and was not like really good ideas. Like so now we just have like arcade effect, like oops, like become the car and travel. So this is very very first concepts of the nugget toilet signs, as you can see. So we were like kind of exploring the idea of like how does the crowds are going to look, like different jobs and things like that. So, yeah. And yeah, now they look like that. Zombies. I don't know. Is like, do we have zombies? I think we do, right? Like,
We
or
do.
was it Halloween
No,
edition?
we do.
Yeah, this is like nice,
Good.
nice card. So it works really well. I think like it's a pretty nice design. But if we in Universim 2, maybe we should get to a little bit more detailed stuff. So this is what we've been talking about, like this, like kind of like thinking about. Not
And
sure if you guys
there's-
find your favorite version. It's like give us the number. Maybe we still have time to implement that. Not sure.
But yeah, some people are asking about like specific settings, like for exiles to be big, small, large, or like some other settings. We might look into it, but like we mentioned already, we don't want to right now just keep adding new and new features, just because again, then we will be just delaying release more and more, and then people will just keep asking like, where
Some
is
will
it?
recognize this.
But yeah, so we want to first again concentrate fully on polishing and providing you guys with 1.0, and after that we might consider addition of like new additional settings that can influence your gameplay in different ways.
Should be fixed. Like this
Because
is
we
like
kind of
very wrong.
start doing it. Like if once you start playing, you click new game, you can see like you can adjust like the amount of wolves attacks, the amount of creator points you have, and all of those settings. So that just gonna be expanded, that system.
Yeah, fixed. So yeah, at one point we had an idea of like introducing heroes to the game, like kind of like in Civilization game you have those like what are they called? I don't remember, like hero people. But like yeah, it was like a little bit controversial because we were considering adding Kim Jong-un as a rocket inventor. Then there was like Donald Trump as a wall inventor. So those heroes unlock you something in the game. And so the Donald Trump was supposed to unlock the walls. Kim Jong-un supposed to unlock some like nuclear rockets, and I think Elon Musk rockets and things like that. So I think that was one of the most popular blogs, mainly because there was so
Very
much
controversial.
because it was controversial, and people in comments start fighting about like, why would you give them a space? It's like a nugget, the Trump and things like that. And we're like, well, we backed up. Sorry, sorry for the ones like I've been getting some hate messages that why do you listen to the mob? We should like stick to what he's doing. It's like it's my president and things like that. So it was fun. But yes, there was like a consideration of like adding like different shapes for nuggets as well. As you can see, normal, thin, fat, tall. So never explored that well. Some basic stuff. Yeah, and yeah, this is something that we've seen with you guys. Is like this is a level of detail so far. Kickstarter planet. Why would Elon Musk be controversial, Sandwich? Yeah, there's no reasons at all. At all.
I mean, we still do kind of have those characters there.
Some of them are there. Yeah, it's like I don't.
But they're very like they more neutral. We try to stay.
Yeah, the Tesla is there, right? There's like we have like some characters. We might introduce more in the future, but like again, depends on you guys. You have the power of pressing us.
I know with 1.0 we introduced a few.
Yeah, you can see. Look at this mountains. I believe this is like the one. This planet is right after this one. This one is the prototype one. This one was the second one. The mountains are surprisingly was like super hard and challenging to have a good mountains. Because like we're considering it from the beginning is like kind of like morphing the ground, like stretching them up, but we didn't have like a good skills to do that. And we come up with like this mesh models for mountains. And we were just never happy with mountains, any mountains that we've been adding. And then we kind of like ended up actually like stretching the mountains, like pulling them from the ground, like the way they originally are. So yeah, the simple thing as mountain is also been going through multiple concepts. Oh, that's not the not the building.
And I like those plateau mountains. They looked pretty cool.
That's the thing is like that's the biggest problem was like you know, it's like don't change it if it works, like they usually say that is like with a lot of like modern age gaming, right? Like that's why you guys still have like Rainbow Six Siege. You don't have Rainbow Six Siege 2. That's why you don't have like, well, Counter-Strike 2 was kind of a good example of bad example that you start changing things. And people that used to one thing start like, because you creating a second camp of people, the people that are gonna love it, the new version, and people that are gonna hate the new version, and then you're not doing good. But with mountains, I don't know. It's like I still feel like that the new ones are so much more like immersed in the world.
Well,
This
also
is
allow us a lot of diversion.
Because we talked about multiplayer, like we were thinking, because it's almost impossible to add multiplayer to the game, because when you create the multiplayer games, you want to fundamentally create the game that support multiplayer game. So we can't just like go ahead and add like 10 billion objects to the multiplayer and then call it multiplayer. It's like it's just technically super hard. And we were considering adding some elements, some like, so basically like not exactly seeing other planets, but potentially like talking with other players and like trading in between, like with resources and things like that. But like we understood that that's kind of dry, and like as you can see is like a lot of things that you guys, what you get is just a final product almost, right? Like, but there's a lot of work happening behind the scene. That's why we kind of like it kills us when we go and read the comments like, well, they're slow, they're not doing it, and things like that. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean we're not working really hard or with less love and things like that. So there's a lot of things as being, it's like, imagine like everything needs a concept, everything needs game design, and all that needs to be discussed and reviewed. And that has like tons of iteration going back and forth, so much stress. It's like, I don't know. It's like there was so many, like I seen so many people, like we had like great developers with a great knowledge. We had kind of asshole-ish developers that like come to the project, they kind of like, hey, I know a lot, and then it's because he's very egoistic, it's so hard to like explain them that like they consider you like hey, you don't know things. Sure I don't, right? Like, so because like we're relatively new, but like this is not the way it's gonna work if you just like think that like everybody's know nothing and you know everything. So it's just like different kind of people. And then we have like the greatest people in the world. Like I believe like our team is like asshole free right now. It's like that should be our slogan. So yeah, it's we usually like we don't chase very experienced people because again our budgets, but we're chased for like passion people. It's like people that like love what we're doing, and because a lot of times even like with some of like if you guys seen it's like there's a farm folks project, like there's some artists joining there. It's like they come in, it's like, hey, I don't have experience. Is like yeah, show us what you can. And sometimes they show what they can. They actually like super good. Like you can see the talent. It's just like they don't have experience, and like the big companies are not going to hire them, and we gladly will work with them. You know. So yeah, this is like some more examples of the mountains that we were kind of thinking one of the earliest builds. Yeah. Sorry if I'm missing some of your questions, guys. How do you poop if you're asshole free? Well, we don't poop. We don't poop at all.
No time for pooping.
Right? It's like, who do you think we are? Pooping is for dirty people. Yeah, like look at this. It's like tree. This is a model of the tree with 90 triangles. Our 3D modelers had like crazy challenges. They were like, go make us a tree. It's like, what is our polygon budget? It's like 100,000? No, 100 polygons. Come back with a tree that has like leaves and stuff like that. And yeah, this is screens of the second iteration of the planet. So the level of detail, so you can see the stones are very squarish. This was like an alien planet that we showed. This was like a teaser of alien planet that we showed on a Kickstarter. Like, I hope you guys are going to be happy with this kind of level of details that we have on space right now. This is current exile. Don't you like it? It's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, so all that is that. One interesting thing, and I will regret showing it to you probably, and like kind of already influencing you, is like, but we were considering adding like planet creator at the beginning of the game or potentially like later. So, and it was like kind of like structured in the way in the first day you create the shape of the planet, like what type of the planet it is. Then you have different parameters that you can input. Like technically we can have it, like we can release something to you later, but not V1. It's like for sure. It's like shut up.
It's like adding plus 4 months of development.
Yes. Right. But like basically all these parameters is something that we work with, right? Like when we create planets, is we have to design it and input all this information. So you can like choose like your biome coverage and percentage. So as you know, it's like it's all like generated by the system. So this system, I think, like I would not be mistaken if I'll tell you that it's probably like 5th or 6th iteration of planet generation, like the just mesh itself. Because the biggest challenge when you do something procedural generated, you lose kind of control, right? Like, and we don't want, like, if you look at our planets doesn't, like, usually this is a bad example because it does have island. But like we tried to avoid islands. We still wanted to have like the big water pools, but we tried to avoid islands because we didn't want players to build like epicenter on the island and lose the game and then say it's like, right? It's like,
oh my goodness,
right?
I remember doing that, something like that in one of my tests where he just couldn't do anything.
Right. On the 3rd day of creation, so you do the vegetation and biome. So you choose trees, what kind of colors you want, flowers, food bushes, others, and all that kind of stuff. So again, this is like really not really like technical design. This is more like UI design that was showing like how can it potentially look. Like you can change like length of the day, length of the year, and all that kind of stuff.
But that's technical, like what right now we have to do in order to create one planet.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of utilizing all the instruments, probably less. Like I don't know, it's like we should have made a screenshot of our config
I mean, we
for
have
the
a little
planet.
bit more, yeah, because we have like
A little bit more. We had to write tools that create us.
Yes.
That creates us all the configs for the planet to save us time. So there's a planet, and each planet has a config. Config is the place where you put all the information for the planet, right? So we had to develop the tool that's gonna create us this configs, not the values for the configs, just configs, so that it saves us time. Because the one planet has so many configs that we had to like populate later that like it would save us time, so that system will create those things so that we fill it, like because it's all intertwined. So in 6th day, Nugget's lifespan. So you could have like control minimum years, maximum years, Nugget mating ritual frequency. That's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen if you put it like 100%. Like your civilization just mate all the time. Possibility of twins, very high, which is all that is. Like we technically can give you a build where Nuggets mate all the time, but they're probably going to die pretty soon. The 7th day of creation, so you press the play, and that's where you relax. So yeah, have that. So this one, And then there's a Space Age. I don't know if you guys, well, I mean, I just like found this one is kind of funny. It's like pretty nice. Some Nugget costumes that you know how Nuggets change their appearance in a different era. Yeah, so we have some of this. I just like saw it on Trello and quickly saved so that we can look at it. Doctor, are they delivering some heart transplant or something?
Looks super nice in game.
I like this guy is like freaking firefighter. It's like, is that the firefighter or Darth Vader? It's like, no, no. Yeah. This is the Judge Dredd, Hunter Space, Police Space, Priest. Priest stays the same. Like priests are always like very conservative. It's like they're always going to be the same. And the flags again. Oh, don't know if we want to show any of that. That's like exile. Do we have that or no?
What? Sorry.
Yeah.
The exile stuff.
Yeah, we have LN exiles. So like
Yeah.
on your planet, mother planet, you're gonna have like your regular nuggets, but on other alien planets, your exiles are gonna be like alien-looking exiles. So yeah, they're not gonna be your regular nuggets.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like UI evolution. I will show UI and then we can switch to show you guys a little bit of like alien planets. Don't know.
I believe we're working on the space tank or the alien tanks and alien choppers.
Oh, there was, yeah, I didn't save them. I don't know if you want to drop me, I can show them. But like one of the like initial concept was that your town information was supposed to be on epicenter. So you click on it and your epicenter would like give you this bubbly menus and you can choose what you want to do with things, which is still, I think, like pretty cool idea. It's like, wish we kind of like chased it a little bit more. So you could have like upgrade things. Like originally, I was thinking that the towns, the cities on the planet will have individuality, right? Like, so they all not going to be one big civilization on the planet. So you would be able to create like different cities that have different parameters and settings. It was a little bit too much for us to handle back then. Again, TU2 maybe like ever, but I keep talking about it. It's like they don't want to talk about it. It's like for now, it's like, but again, it's like pretty cool idea. And the first iteration, Sasha, that's something that you were asking, wanted to see. This is one of the first UI.
Yes.
Yeah, so you had to assign nuggets to things manually. So you had to like kind of like scroll and say, this is how many I want lumberjacks. This is how many I want to harvest food, engineers and stuff like that. And then you like choose their priorities. As you can probably say and see now, is like it's like not really super flexible. It's like priorities was one for all of them and all that kind of stuff. So there was like also calendar, like detailed calendar that's showing stuff. This is our pride, the UI. It's like there was some little like months ticking here, so some interesting stuff. Yeah, as you can see, it's like, again, it's like look at how many iterations. This is one of the research panels. Like, so first,
I think research trees was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like challenging to like come up with like good, reasonable, like balancing directions for this. Now, I mean, we know how to do it. Back then, we kind of struggled with it, and we had to scrap it and give you guys a little bit more linear stuff. Sure, this is
linear was the best way to go.
Well, because linear showcases you the actual like progression through stages.
Yeah, because of ages is harder.
Chaotic. I mean, I'm pretty sure people who love like Diablo and Passive Exiles would love that kind of progression that you just showed, but we have a slightly different community.
This is where the idea was born, right? Like, so when I had an idea, and I was like visual designer, UI designer, so all this UI is like done by me, and we had Sebastian as well. It's like pretty good guy. It was a good skills. And yeah, when I came up with the idea for the game, the next thing I did is kind of like visual reference of how I want it to look like, right? And as you can tell, is like it was supposed to be a little bit more minimalistic, where the buildings like it was not like really, because like it's so heavy AI targeted right now. It's like there's a lot of like stats and stuff like that. But this was supposed to be a little bit more on like high level. It's like the build of the towns grow, things move around it, like the airplanes fly, like trading, technology and things like that. So it was like a bit higher level stuff, and but it was evolutionary. So everybody really loved the look of it. Not sure what is this. This kind of like something that we've been messing with some seasons and stuff. Yeah, this is that research. It actually was in the game at one point. I don't know if any of you guys actually tried it. If you were that old, so there was this kind of research or upgrade. I don't remember how that was working. Do you remember, Sasha? It's like this kind of upgrade building thing. What is that?
Barely.
Yeah, we were trying to do some kind of upgrades. I don't remember what was that. Upgrade name, increase speed. Is that still a research? It might be like part of the research. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, this is another look at the Nugget priorities, which you were supposed to manually handle, assign how many people do what and how fast they move. As you can see, if you make them work harder, they become a little bit unhappier, they eat more, and they getting stamina reduced or recovered slower and things like that. What is this? Oh, this is one of the panels. Yeah, this is kind of like you can see is like kind of parameters that we kind of like working with. We have things like pre-mating conversations that needs to be balanced. Like you have a mating, right? Like Nugget leave, then we tell Nugget is with this frequency you need to mate, and then because we want it look nice, so he needs to go find his mate, and then there's like some conversations happening. Like there's a fertility timer, there's a pre-mating conversation that's like when they talk and then they go mate. Then there's a pregnancy duration. I don't think we have pregnancy anymore. It's like, yeah, it's like, was
no, it just we skipped it. But the thing is, it's just like even all of those tabs right now, you feel like, oh my god, like
right?
How many of them potentially could have skipped?
Yeah,
just being straightforward, like, hey, you
or add more,
or
add more, and still work on this. Is like pregnancy is how cool it's gonna be. Is like I still would love to see like pregnant nuggets walking around. It's like how cool. Like the idea was, and it was implemented. It's like that when she was pregnant, she was not working or available for anything for some time until she gave her birth. Like again, I love this kind of sentimentality of the game, right? Like so, I want it to be very sentimental. I strongly considered making nuggets pee, right? Like so.
I remember that.
Right. I was like battling with them. I want them to feel natural. I want them to feel alive. It's like imagine guy going from like construction to back home and he needs to pee. It's like he stops and peeing. It's like how awesome that going to be. It adds so much life to it, you know? It's like it doesn't have any things, but like yeah, we chopped it out. Sometimes they win. Twin possibility. So yeah, that was that. Space Age. Well, that was it. Planets. I think I covered it all. Not sure. You guys. Yeah. Go ahead.
Also, a couple of questions that I just was gonna cover before we forget about it. It's about space and basically colonizing other planets and how it's gonna work, and like, do you have to micromanage every single planet? So the answer, like, if not going into many details, is if you will be able to set up your planet to be sustained well, just as an example, that you don't have an excess of production of, let's say, pollution on your planet, and you have enough resources are being delivered to your planet, then technically you don't really have to micromanage that planet. You can just leave that planet and go to another planet. But for example, if you're leaving your planet in a disastrous condition, like for example, you build 50 factories and you don't have anything that removes the pollution.
I'm just gonna play it, Sasha, on the background since you're talking about planets. So
and you don't have any food. Well, then your planet is gonna be in a bad condition, and you're gonna receive some warnings saying like your planet is in a bad condition. So just up to you to set up the planet so it can sustain itself. But otherwise, it can sustain itself.
Right. Yeah. So again, you guys give us a break a little bit. It's like we, as much as we wanted to make like something like, oh, it's so loud, like a No Man's Sky. It's like, but like again, the planets, like it's just like, again, we want to like manage expectations. So like sometimes I see people like you're like hyping things. With us, like we're on other sides. Like we don't want to overhype it. Is like, again, you're gonna have like different planets. The planet's going to have like different environment conditions. As you can see, this is like a toxic planet. So if you want to colonize something like this, you have to kind of like terraform it. So we have some tools to do that. So we kind of been experimenting. That's why we released Moon a little bit earlier, so that we can collect some information. But like, that's why we've been spending so much time on planet generation, is that we can like kind of procedurally generate different kinds of planets. And so the planet play is going to be like, yeah, you colonizing, trading resources. Your planet will kind of like, basically the reason why you're doing that is like because some other planets are losing resources and you need to trade between of them. I hope this is not too loud. And so this is, I believe, Dead Planet. So it's like very grayish and stuff like that.
Arid planet.
Yeah.
And these planets are absolutely beautiful to play on, and they're fun to play on. You're gonna have some planets that you can play with, send nuggets to, and then some other planets where you're gonna have to send nuggetoids to, because it's just not survivable at the time you arrive for nuggets. So
Yeah. So it's basically, the play is about terraformation, resource management, trading in between, and stuff like that. People were asking about like the Planet Cracker. So you will be able to unlock Planet Cracker. The design for the Planet Cracker is like, basically he is what he sounds like. Like, so you can, I don't know how much we can spoil it, but I think that we can spoil it. That's fine.
I mean,
Like,
that's
yeah.
fine, yeah.
So basically the Planet Cracker is your resource sucker, right? Like, so you choose the planet where you want to like extract resource and deliver it to other planet, and the Planet Cracker is going to do that. But you pay with a planet, I believe, if that didn't change. Is like,
Correct.
so he sucks out the resource of entire planet and planet explodes, right? Like, so he can like grab entire oil from resource from this planet and bring it somewhere else. And
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Just to kind of like quickly clarify it. So basically, on each planet you might encounter different resources, and with Planet Cracker, you will be able to select one out of like many resources, or maybe there's going to be only one resource on the planet. Who knows? But you can select only one, and after it's, as Alex already mentioned, going to extract that resource, the planet is going to be destroyed. So you'll have to choose wisely what resource do you want to do, because that planet is going to be destroyed. So it's kind of like a drawback, even though like he's gonna have a lot of capacity to suck all the resources, like all that specified resources. But yeah, so it's kind of like there's pros and cons to it. So not every single planet you need to colonize. Maybe for some of them you just need to send him to grab resources.
Right. Well, this is your, I believe, almost first look at this planet. So it's like, we're gonna show a little bit in our trailer, the release date announcement, which we're still considering the date. It's, again, like it's hard to say. It's like it's 99.9%, not 99.7% ready, right? It's like, yeah.
There is also a question. It's like, again, we do know that we did say multiple times that, hey, we're gonna do it this way, and then every single time something just pops up. And right now we're being very just extremely cautious with just saying like, hey, that's going to be the date, just because, again, things just popping up here and there, and then it's like, oh shoot, now we just have to break the promise. We don't want to break any more promise. We want to make sure that
Term is going to be there to call us out. He'll be like, told you guys you're not going to deliver it on time. It's like,
yeah, so like,
sure.
we want to ensure it ourselves that that's going to be the date, and it's not like that it's very long somewhere in a long road. The data is, no, it's like we're very close.
No, you'll be,
being
I know,
very cautious with it.
Yeah,
So
Justin asking if the Planet Cracker is a giant robot spider we saw. Yes. I'm trying. I want to see if I can kind of like show a little bit of trailer with him. Well, this is the image, which is untextured old one I found, but like there was a trailer that was supposed like the thing is like my computer is a little bit disorganized right now. I got hacked like last week and it was like super stupid. It's like the guy was saying, it's like, hey, download this game, can you check the game and give me feedback? I'm like, oh, kind of sounds like a spam scam. And I was like, and the biggest thing is like we already helped him in the past. He purchased one of our games or something, and I was like, sure. It's like, and yeah, well, I have this trailer, so I'm not going to show you anything. No, I'm not going to show you everything, but I'm going to show you like little part with a cracker maybe, because just some people will not know what the cracker is. Like, okay, so it's kind of epic. Do I want to spoil it? No, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to show you what the cracker is. Hold on, you guys have to wait for it. I mean, it's all ready. This is the planet cracker, but it's gonna move in the trailer. No, I'm not gonna spoil. Justin is asking. No, because we worked hard to put it together. It's like right now we're gonna like take like all the like your kind of impression from it. Is like you have to see it in whole with the sound and music. So I mean, it's nothing really crazy. Again, I don't want you like, you guys have tendency of like overhyping things, so shut up. Wait for it and just expect low and be impressed if it's good, you know. It's like, so that's our goal. It's like we're against of like hypernization of things. So yeah. I can click a few times here. It's like, well, some things that, you know, yeah, that's it. Not anymore. So yeah, you guys want to add anything? Like, are we missing any important questions? I'm gonna like just run this on the background.
Well, we can just probably, instead of talking about what is on the screen, we can just probably just ask some questions and see.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this as a background and we can talk.
Planet Cracker, yes, it will be a part of the lore initially before you can actually create your own one.
Part of the lore, yeah. It's like, again, there's a little bit of story. I mean, it's not uncovered like 100%, but it's like, we hope you guys like it. We're gonna like it. Not sure, James, can you like tell more about like your experience of like learning about it? Is like if you like it, or it's like you think like in the future we should like uncover it more maybe for them? Is like not sure. It's like
honestly, like it's a really good storyline.
Plot twist almost, yeah. No.
So there's a lot of good features in there that's going to be new to you, and it's gonna be really fun to explore. I mean, with the aliens, with the cracker, with the final planet stuff where you get to end the game. It's just really cool.
And
you
I
guys
think
love it.
It's going to be important to know that some things might be confusing, but if you're gonna kind of give it a try and learn a little bit more, because everything is going to be progressing as you move forward, so you'll be knowing a little bit more and more information as you move forward. So certain actions that you will see in a game, you'll be like, what is it? What's going on? And later on you will find out what's going on. But yeah, it might sound
that's
really
why
weird and really strange. And
it was important for us to get the narrator back on track, because he is part of the story. Not to spoil too much, but like we needed him back because we couldn't finish the game. It's like some of you will be like, well, it's simple, it's narration, but because we have a story that is not like, it's very subtle. Like it's really like uncovers itself towards the end. And that's it. I'm not going to tell more. It's like we shouldn't. That's it. It's like again, if we say more, we can overhype it because it's not that big. If
you're super blessed to have the narrator back is the best way to put that.
Right.
Because it's just like without him, the story would not have been complete.
Yeah, Justin from YouTube asked, question to the Crytivo team. I don't know if any of you guys played the game Spore, but did you get any inspiration from it when making the game? Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we've been getting a lot of like Spore kind of comments and vibes like in the past. We did play it. We know that like Space Age was in the Spore, and like we were never kind of like inspired by it. I mean, I love Spore. They have like crazy technologies even to the day. I believe was the creature morphing, like creating new paws and all that kind of stuff. So that's like super good. It's like maybe in the Universim too. we make like the creature creation is like, but like even today, if I think about like the creature creation like it was in Spore, I mean it's very interesting and challenging, but like you'll have to kind of introduce some kind of like procedural animations to animate creatures. It would be nice to like imagine you create a planet, then you can actually design the creatures, not nuggets, but you design a creature that has like flaws and strengths and see how they survive. It's like that might be very interesting. Yeah, Spore, we love Spore. So to answer that, is like I played Spore. I don't think I beat the game, but like because the game was like super fun, like first half the game, and then I kind of like been losing interest. I think like evolutionary part of the game was like really good. And I believe I even like spoke with some original Spore developers. Like we showcased them Universim. I had the opportunity to chat with creator of Sims and SimCity. We were showcasing Universim. They kind of like were excited about it. It's like, but again, it's like those guys are pretty industry veterans. You know, it's like probably not super impressed as I would think or imagine. But yeah, so no, Spore good. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Any questions you guys have? Tell us. I mean, I can answer. Is like there was like some controversial, silly questions, like why you guys moved from California to Texas, right? And the same person actually answers like gives pretty good justification. It was like, well, I understand that taxes are high. Well, I mean, to be honest, is like you caught us. We robbed the bank in California and moved to Texas. But I don't know, like, how can you make it that controversial? But in reality, why we moved from California to Texas is a lot of our developers and our partners, because we're also doing some publishing stuff, are Europe-based, and they're on the other side of the planet. And we even considered moving to Miami or Florida, right? But we kind of like researched it a little bit more. It seems like the weather is kind of like always hot and things like that. Not that in Texas the weather is super good, but yeah. So moving in Texas from California gave us 2 additional hours per day to work with our developers, and 2 additional hours per day gives us entire times 5. That's 10 hours a week. So that's entire day, more than one day we can work extra with our developers by just simply moving from California to Texas. And on top of it, California is not like super nice for like startups and young businesses. Any day they can introduce some crazy stuff that's gonna cripple us. So yeah, that's the answer. I mean, a little bit longer than it needed to be, but like I don't know, it's like what else? Like sure, hurricanes in California, they don't have hurricanes. In Miami, Florida, it's like they do, I think, right? Term is asking what happened with Sari. It was like Sari is a completely different game. The developer had some struggles. We don't have like, if you're talking about IP rights, we don't have IP rights. We gave them money, and that was not enough at the end for them, and they couldn't finish the game. So they might come back to it. The developers from Ukraine, and like with the war and things like that, so the game is on the shelved right now. It's like unfortunately we're kind of like losing our money with that for now. So we'll see if we'll be able to recover. We're currently rescuing few projects, but like yeah, the Sari is still on the shelf. Yeah, James.
I have a question, and it says, what was the choice you guys did to not give like small updates monthly and rather just go for 1.0?
That was like I addressed that question is like because if we would not work on 1.0, we would continuously implement new features. But because we set up the deadline to release the 1.0, we had to lock everything, right? Like because if we would continuously add new features, we will never finish the game. Is like because with the new features we introduced bugs and issues, and we had to lock the game design and game development in a way so that we can polish everything, finalize adding everything. And in order for us to do that, because what you guys also need to know is like with every update, with every public update, we lose at least, I believe, 2 weeks of work time. So every month we lose almost like 2 weeks on testing for the public when we're releasing updates on a monthly basis. And James, you probably seen that. Even like I don't, Termis, my best friend, is on in the chat. You know as well. It's like you know that when we release monthly updates, we have to lock the new content. So in reality, we work on the new content for 2, maximum 3 weeks per month, because like in the past we've been releasing updates on a monthly basis. You guys know that. And the closer we been getting to version 1, the harder it became for us to manage, because the updates start becoming a little bit rare and rare, mainly because of like, okay, it's because if we start adding more complex systems, we'll have to spend more time later on polishing them and balancing them and making sure that they're like consumer ready. But yeah.
Yep. I agree. That was a really good answer. It does take time to test, and it does take time to create. So just be lenient with us when we're...
How many updates we had? Like I think Sasha, do you know it was like 40 something, like over 50? I think we passed 50 updates. Yeah, 59 free DLCs, guys. It was like, well, in some cases they are DLCs, like they are free DLCs, because like there's like things that we never promised, but we added them, and we never even thought about like charging any money for any of this. We just like had too much fun and got carried away. We just like been adding and adding and adding and adding stuff. You guys are happy with it. We love seeing you smiling and playing it and reporting back. And there's still no plans for any kind of like paid DLCs like up until now. That might be a good idea. So
I also want to
maybe
add,
sure, yeah.
Being the community manager and the QA, I just want to add that communication has been kind of low on our side, but that's because we've been really hard at work. Like all of us have been really hard at work, getting things together, testing the game, and we're I can't speak.
Too excited.
Yeah, I am excited. Like this is really awesome to come out to you guys. Like it's gonna be really cool. At the very end, you guys are gonna be so happy that.
Hey, you overhyping things again. Like, no, yeah, no.
Even though we haven't been communicating, we're busy at work, and we are really making a great game for 1.0 to finish it all up.
Oh yeah,
I think again, like we could have done a better job. I mean, there is no question with that. I think it's just like everyone really trying to push towards 1.0, as already Alex and James mentioned, and that's why like even because again, with with every single devlog that we were posting, every single update, it required a significant amount of time to like gather all the information and all the data to put everything together, formatted, copywriting work and all that stuff. And now we're just like, okay, we need to get to 1.0 as fast as possible, and we kind of like selected the straightest route that is possible. And it did not help like with some of the systems, as you guys know, on our Discord, when somebody was pushing merges or somebody was working, our bot would report what everyone is working on. But we did change a system because everything was like on our servers, and now we
that stopped working for like last like year or two. It's like we didn't even like put any effort like recovering that system. It was like,
yes, it's just because it would just require time completely off from the development. And again, just because everyone wants to see 1.0 and everyone is asking when 1.0, we just like, okay, we need to get 1.0. We need to literally just look at 1.0, nothing else. And that's why like we're literally just concentrating on 1.0. Again, it's maybe a little bit silly. I mean, I don't want to sound it as an excuse. Like I said, I think we could have done a better job in terms of like communication and providing the updates. I just think we just decided, hey, let's just concentrate on 1.0 and do our best to get it as fast as possible.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah, we will do our best to continue communicating with you guys and improving that for sure.
For the bot, because I'm asking if we can fix for the bot. we checked initially. It will just require it to transition to completely, because again, it was set up to work with our physical servers. And when we canceled our physical servers, right now we're using cloud
Oh, that's when we
services.
moved to the
Cloud
cloud
services,
plastic.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a version control
Basically,
so that they know what it is.
Yeah.
So, like, basically, when we're developing the game, everything, our game is, because every developer working on the same game, the game is stored on the cloud or on the server, right? Like, and that server, even though Sasha calling it physical, but it still was digital, but it was like physical, that something that we were renting, and we could have write some custom tools so that can fit information to the Discord. And then when we switched to the cloud version, when Unity acquired, we used Plastic CSM for our version control. So Unity acquired it like a few years ago, and they kind of improved it in a way that like we decided to move to the cloud version that offers us a little bit more flexibility. But unfortunately, that cloud version kind of lost the ability to feed information to Discord to you guys, because like everything that you've been seeing on the Discord was automatic, right? Like, so we just like created the hook that whenever our developer, that's kind of our was like kind of interesting ideas, like going forward and being more transparent, because like everything that our developer did back then and pushed to us, because like when you make changes to the game, you have to have like a patch note, right? Like fix trees, fix that. And we decided to unlock that to our community. And then that Plastic CSM or CMS changed, like they changed the way that they're handling things, and it stopped working. So it's not that like it will require a lot of time. It probably will require not the time, like, but changing our structure for how we like store this stuff. And we just felt it was not worth it. The what you can blame on us is like, and say we did bad, is like not communicating that properly on time and right the way, so that you guys will know that why it's not working. So overall, is like, yeah, we were not like super communicative through our channels, because like usually we communicate with fans through our dev blogs, and we were not doing it differently. So we just stopped releasing dev blogs, and that's why you felt like a little lonely, which is understandable, you know. So I hope that it explains it. Yeah. Sorry if I cut Sasha. It's like I just like recalled
you
it. Yeah.
basically explained correctly. And in terms of like, I just want to cover some of the things that on top of my head that is left for like 1.0, because we kind of like start and people are still asking like, oh, how much work still needs to be done. So I'll try to list all of the things that I have on top of my head. Maybe I'm missing some small things, but overall. So one thing is a last part of localization, because we could not finalize the full localization because we were still changing some text for the perks, and we're still adding subtitles, which is the text. So that part was not finalized, so we still need to send it to localization. Subtitles, we just today, one of our developers was able to write like a script that goes through all the subtitles, and basically it does a bunch of work to tell us what mistakes, because what we're doing, we have a system that takes a voice and creates subtitles for us, like based with AI. But
yeah, keep in mind we have thousands of
directly.
those, right? Like, so we have like over
many cases.
2,000 of like voiceover tracks. So doing it all manually is crazy idea, right? Like, so see you in 2030, right? If you do that way. So we had to write a system that actually kind of AIing the voice into the text, you know. Like, so, and another good point to make while we're on this topic is that all our localization were like community, done by community, and it's very messy on like different languages. If you're not on English, it's like if it's like any other like languages. But what we're doing actually, we're doing like professional localization. So we took, so we had to clean everything that we had, and now we send it to professional companies that are doing localization for us. And that again, you can't do that until all is done, until you put the cap on game design and game development. Because if you do it, like if you continuously add stuff, you have to continuously do that, and that's like not effective, not efficient, and it's like it just stretches the time. So that's why there was like we had to lock it, and it's like now we're doing localization. There's a lot of it, like right now what we're doing is like a lot of it logistical stuff. So we're just like polishing things, balancing things. Like we're not really adding new crazy features until like we see something like people really want. Is like I remember there was a person, I don't remember his Discord nickname. He was like, hey, I mean, we love like modern age, but there's like this 3-5 buildings that doesn't look like fitting. And those buildings, actually interesting is that they've been outsourced, like, because like we have our internal team of 3D designers and they're doing a good job. And we decided, like, hey, how about like we try to save some time and like outsource the buildings, and so that they make more and faster, and we can like continuously move forward. And then now have to redo them because we tried to like cut the corner and it didn't work. And we go and, oh, you are, yeah.
So now
Aiken, you are the person, like, yeah. So again, it's like we try to listen. Thanks for like we look at it and we agree. Sometimes there's things that like low priorities is like we know about them, but like we prioritize like the stronger stuff. It's not that like we're blind or deaf. It's just like, no, it's just like there's stronger issues to address. And these buildings, the reason why we're doing actually them Ithimid, if I'm pronouncing it right, is because like you brought our attention to that, and our 3D designers are kind of like calmed right now, so there's not much to add to the game 3D wise. And we're like, yeah, it's like, while we're doing this, go improve things, you know. Same with our developers, is like sometimes developer is utilized 100%, sometimes developer become a little bit more available. It's like we can ask him to improve some systems or even like integrations with things and stuff like that. So that's that. Is like, but I think like right now is like we have like those 4 the strongest developers that we ever had working on the project. Again, it's like Marius, Slava, Marcus, and Adam. Is like they know what they're doing. They're like pretty good. Marius did tons for game performances. Like a lot of performance wins that you guys experienced in the past and gonna experience is been done by Marius. He's very strong. He's been with us like for a very long time. I think like it's like 4 or 5 years too already. So
Marcus as well was,
yeah, it just like again like we have some drama queens that running around on our Discords and Steams, and it's like trying to like sabotage things, but like thankfully there's just a few of them, and like in most cases we even know who they are and where they're coming from. So but overall, again, this is our first project and we want to make sure we do it right. This is tremendous amount of work we did. It's like, it's crazy, it's nuts. It's stupidest idea that and then the greatest idea that they had is like, hey, how about like make a game and make it that complex from like for the indie, for the rookie team, you know. But again, our butt is full of blisters, so we learn a lot and we can utilize this going forward. This is our not our last game, so this is our first game. Very proud of it, like very nice. The second game that we're gonna switch our gears. I mean, we kind of like in pre-production, you guys heard about it, like Farm Folks. So after we're done with Universim, we like some of the team will migrate to that, and we're still gonna continue like managing Universim and even adding more stuff probably down the road. So that's the plan. Regarding a release, should we just regarding? We're gonna add the really quick, Sasha. Regarding the release date, right? Like, so we can potentially like say, is like I was saying, is like we even consider is like doing potentially December, January. So potentially those months. Is the problem with December is that it's not the best months for game releases because there's like AAA projects. You guys all waiting for GTA 6. Like nobody's gonna even like look at us, you know, like and things like that. And we've been working on this for so long. We're just like kind of like trying to find a good time for it to be released as well. And usually like January, February is up until March is good time. But we know how eager you are. It's like it's so hard for us to kind of like miss the target on this. So like the release date is very soon. It's soon. soon. It's like it's sooner than sooner.
Tired of hearing that, we know. But
right,
soon is the best answer we can
for
get.
sure before
Very
GTA 6.
soon.
For
It's
sure.
getting better.
For sure before GTA 6. For sure.
Summer is good, but obviously we can't wait for the summer.
No, not summer for sure. It's like I give you 100%. I swear. what is it like? Swear on the grave of my ancestors. It's like I think like by March you're gonna have the full version. By March, not the latest, not the later. So as much as I want to give it like sooner, I just like again there's like we can release it sooner. It's like but like we of course we can use some time to polish it more. But if you allow us a little bit extra time, so give us that time, is like so that we can choose the good timing for it, because it's our baby. Want to make sure that we're doing it right. We're gonna like work with Steam, see if they can offer us any kind of like featuring. Probably gonna launch any like some discount for the launch. So yeah. Again,
And just to
yeah.
kind of like, because the term is mentioned about some of the programmers, it just is in any industry. A lot of people working, a lot of people leaving, new people joining. It's like in every single industry. A lot of people are staying. Like for example, Mario's with us for like, I don't know, 5 years. Maverick was with us for like 6, 7 years. Again, people, when you work on a project for like so many years, I mean, some people getting tired of like, oh, they want to try something new. They don't want to like work for additional like 5 years on the same project. They want to try a new project, and that's kind of like completely fine. We had a lot of programmers who were completely new and who gained extreme like a lot of knowledge.
They get like a
And
great
they get
experience.
offers,
Yeah.
for example, from like Sony. And
yeah,
Sony, like,
Chase and Jack went to the company, worked AAA companies from us. When Chase came in, such a great guy. He's like, love that guy. He's like, he did so much. He came in to us and worked on the game for the first time ever. After us, he went to the Sony. What's the game? Like, what's the studio? He's like,
it's the ones who created on Taisuna.
Yeah, whatever. It's like AAA project is like, and when they work with us, you have to be stupid not to go to work on like some kind of like AAA project, right? Like especially if you're developers, it's like again like we can't compete with them salary wise. Is like we're still like indie, we're still kind of like cutting corners, asking people to give us like some nice pricing, because again it's like we don't have any kind of a crazy AAA project that would make us millions on a monthly basis. And then that company arises and see that our developer have a good experience and they made them offers like that. What happened with Chase and Jack when we have them in our office, those guys went there. It's like was great relationship, like no problems at all. It's like, and then we have some silly guys that go and spread some silly stuff online that like, hey, they're collapsing, people are living and all that kind of stuff. It's like we're stronger than ever. It's like it's all good, it's all under control. It's like it's fine. It's like of course we have some downsides here and there. It's like I think like we struggled a little bit like during Corona. It's like our offices were like closed. Like we had to like retarget and work from like remotely and things like that. But now it's like it's all good. It's like we managing our budgets. It's again, nothing is easy. It's like super like challenging, super stressful and stuff like that. But again, like what makes us happier, it's like might sound like a little bit like, I don't know, like marketeer maybe, or it's like I don't know, but appreciation for what we're doing is always what makes us do more, and we love doing it for you guys. Is like being the company we are, like we work for your satisfaction, right? Like we can't be successful if you guys are not happy. It's like there's no way. It's like we're not some kind of like mobile game producer that produce tons of games on a monthly basis. It's like we produce like one game a decade. So it's important for us. So hopefully that is understandable. It's like, and we're happy to clarify things. Nothing to hide for sure. It's like you guys ask us any questions.
And the game actually is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
Sushime. All right. Well, talking about sushis, right? It's a lunchtime. So hopefully, yeah. It's like is there more you guys want to answer? Otherwise, like we can start wrapping it up.
I just want to like quickly answer because Unforked asked if the trailer is gonna have a release date, and yes, the trailer is gonna have a release date. That's why we created the trailer. And
it's done. It just needs a release date.
Everything is ready. Everything is done. It just literally we need to pick the release date, and we just kind of like, okay, so we need to make sure that's already basically set.
I mean, we can release the trailer.
The release date that we are talking about, because we are also tired of like moving the date back and forth. We want to make sure that we deliver on that date. So that's why we are very, very careful, and we like apologize that we're just saying like, hey, soon.
Yeah, our like we can release trailer. It's the release date just gonna say coming soon if that works. But yeah, anyways, hopefully we were able to answer some of your questions, guys. Happy to do this stream again. It's like maybe next time we can have James with saves for alien planets. We plan to start like getting more QA people involved in testing, and yeah, so that's the thing. So that's the plan. So release date again is like, even though it's like we're a little bit uncertain right now, that doesn't mean that like we're gonna wait until when the game is gonna be released. So we're gonna announce it, but we're gonna announce it probably within next. No, I'm not gonna say anything. All right. so yeah, right after GTA 6, right? Like they're gonna be like announced, but like I think like they're gonna announce it
We'll
next
try to
month. Yeah.
pick up the communication and like the streams. So I think next stream we can make with actual like on playing on Alien Planet or discussing like some of the challenges and showcasing a little bit more late end content. So because right now we just kind of went from like where we were, where we are now, and a little bit of space. So we can concentrate a little bit more on space, more on trading stuff, and yeah, just see what you guys think and hear a little bit more of your feedback. And all of that we can do on the next stream. And I think, I mean, we should do it before the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, all right. And we gonna connect with you guys later on. Again, so it's like feel free tagging me on Discord as much as you want. I don't mind that. So happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna wrap it on this note. Hopefully, it was informative for you guys. And we will see you later on. Yeah. Have a good day.
Thank you guys so much
Thanks
for joining
coming.
us.
Awesome.
Yep. Bye bye.
Cool, guys.